This meeting is something that's a bit different than the rest of the lectures that I've done in the past. I've actually done one in the past, but it's not going to be exactly the same. What we're going to do here today is going to be a workshop. And the turnout that a lot of people came here kind of surprised me. I wasn't prepared for so many people, but we're still going to manage that. We'll see how we do it. It's supposed to be around teams. We'll see how that goes later on. But it's going to be practical. So it's not going to be a lecture where you sit back and just take notes or scroll through your phone. Hopefully you don't do that anyway. Of course you don't do that. But it's going to be practical. We want you guys to actually feel how it is to not just talk about strategy, not just talk about a topic, but actually try it out and do it for yourself. So, a little bit about myself, and I'll move on. My background is entrepreneurial. I've been doing it for 15 years now, the last 15 years now. Began with startups. Some were my own, some were others that I've joined. I was the CEO of 4 startups. I always say that I found out what product management is after the third role that I did as a product manager, because I just didn't know what it was. But when it's your startup, so it's like the main thing that you do. Currently, in the last 3 years, kind of like switched seats. I'm a consultant for my own company called My Perspective. What we emphasize, our specialty is product strategy. Usually what we do is we come into companies like work with startups, not necessarily, that have come or reached some sort of block in the road or have a product that's not going the way that they want to, and they need some external advice, a different perspective of where to take their product. That's when we come in, help them on that. Another, there's like 50% of our business is around analytics as a service. So we help out companies to implement and plan and strategize everything that has to do with analytics. And sometimes after they've done that, to analyze, but usually in kind of early stages of how to set it up and what to do. I do some lectures on that and courses on that. If anybody is interested, feel free to reach me.
Do they feed each other?
Which one? The analytics and
the product.
And the product strategy? They fit in a lot. Actually, it began.
Feed. If the people who use services from the analytics and then go to the product or the opposite way around.
Sometimes it happens, yeah. It happens sometimes, but it actually worked the other way around. So a lot of projects that began as a product strategy project, I said, okay, let's look at the data, let's see, what's going on here, and the answer I got were like, we have Google Analytics, but we don't really use it. Mixpanel, but we don't know how to use it. And I think almost all of the projects began with, okay, let's just, set up something that we can track with, so we know that, we got better, right? It's easy to say, okay, we did something new, and obviously it's better, right? So usually we'll start with that, and then move on. I do some writing as well. I publish a few articles on lecture fees, find the product, stuff like that. We'll share the lecture later on, the presentation, and you can all have that. So, of course, the most important thing, these are the driving forces behind me, and they keep them locked in the cage so they don't run away. So I have 3 boys, and as I said before, now that the holidays are over, I feel like I can breathe again.
The vacation started.
Vacation. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the product. It's not a real live product, but it's a product that was supposed to launch with a real company that wanted to do this. And we're going to analyze this product, analyze the strategy behind it. It's a startup, and see what we would do differently, do the same, and so on. We're just taking the position of the, let's say, the VP product of this company, or even the CEO, and saying, how we should act upon it. So the application called Park. It's a parking app. How many of you guys have ran into seen parking app that's supposed to help you find parking?
Yes.
Which one? No, I'm not talking about Mango and
No, the park. Theme park something? No, don't think.
in Park. Just a big place, by the way.
Europe, they have sense space.
Yeah, so there was like a trend about 3 years ago. There were a lot of them. A few of them were in Israel as well. A few in the valley. What's that? There was one called Poly, right? I can't remember exactly what they did, but I don't think any of them survived. For some reason, we know it's a big pain, right? Especially here in Tel Aviv, anybody who needs to drive in Tel Aviv and find parking this hour at night knows what I'm talking about. But it didn't work. So it's from that era, a little bit, old school, but still very relevant to all the things that we're going to talk about. Okay. So this is the quote, this is their pitch, or whatever, that's what describe it. I'll just read it out loud. We eliminate the weight and frustration behind finding a parking spot in crowded cities by building a network of car owners who share with each other the parking spots that they get out of. We utilize precise activity detection automatically and effortlessly predict when and where the user will live his parking spot and guide parking securely. Okay. Sounds simple, sounds like a good solution, right? We expect consumer acquisition costs to range between $1.5 to $2.5, with the LTV, lifetime value, range between $5 to $10. The immediate value and frustration relief will drive viral growth through imminent NFX, network effects. Okay? So that's what they're saying. Okay? And what I want you guys to do, the warm-up is over, okay? And I need you guys to work. Everybody has like something to write on, and a pen, pencil, whatever, laptop. If somebody doesn't have one, raise their hand, and we'll find someone to give it. And anybody help this poor guy over here with paper or
Our job is to find some solutions for
no, explain. All right. It's not like go out there and find this, right? It's going to be guided. Let's talk about it. Okay, boys and girls, come on. It shouldn't be that complicated. Ready? Anybody have an extra pen? Extra pen, anybody? Okay, so we're getting ready to move, to go back to school, right? What I want you guys to do here, I'm throwing you right into the water. It's not going to be 5 minutes, actually it's going to be 3 minutes. What are the key features? Okay, we talked about the product, we said about what they're doing. Maybe if you have any questions, feel free to ask me while we're doing this. But what are the key features that we will need to develop for this app? Okay, think of 5, no more than that. Features.
יואב, אתה יכול להחזיר את הסרטים שלנו?
כן. And the project description, if anybody needs to, if you have any questions, for some reason the timer doesn't work, so I'll stop you guys. So as I set by timer doesn't really work. It's supposed to work. But what I want you guys to do, again, I'll stop you guys. It's going to be, guys, pay attention for a second. It's going to be a little bit messy here, but the way that we'll do this is that we only have an hour and a half. We're not going to have time for everybody to think of all the ideas, of course. We're going to share each one of these. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time to think of things, and then some of you will share, and the rest of you will continue to think of other things, and then we'll move on. Okay? So we're not going to complete this, obviously, but it's part of the process. Okay? So don't be scared by that. Does anybody want to share some of the features that you thought of? Or she thought? Yeah.
Yeah, I have a few. So the first thing would be to register new users and think about payment methods. Second one would be to how to administrate all those users who have registered. We need some kind of a server, to run in the background. Next thing you'll need is an accurate location GPS software, kind of it. Furthermore, you'll need to manage also those times of how the parking is going to be. If someone is leaving his driveway on 5 p.m., you'll know these guys are going to be usually at 5 p.m., so you can broadcast to the rest of the users. And when you do that for some month of time, you'll have some predictions. You can use analytics in order to predict which drivers leave at certain times, so you can share with the rest of the network, and then you can offer to guys like this guy is living in his house at 7 p.m. every day. This one is coming.
Okay. Anybody else wants to share? Let's limit it to 2 features. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So for my idea, I thought of something that is like the problem space of Uber. Uber just answer the pain point of the users that they don't know how long will it take until they the taxi will get to them. So I thought of maybe getting the users to know how long will it take to them to get to the parking space. So you will have like the route, not only the route, so all the calculation of how much time and maybe the width. That's it.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Motion detection, so that it knows when a person is driving versus when he's walking, so that it can decide on its own in case he forgot to tell it if it's driving or walking. Or perhaps integrate into the car's infotainment, like the car system, so it knows when it's on or off in combination with the location and the motion detection, so that it's making it more independent in knowing when a person drove or parked.
Okay, that's interesting. One last one, yeah? Move on.
I went perhaps more on a lean approach, so that I don't know. I didn't want to start with advanced features at the start, so the basics is
Just one.
marking as left and marking as parking as a statement.
Okay, so I'm moving on, right? Remember the answers that you have. We'll bring them back later on. Okay, now I want you guys to take 5 minutes to draw, again, a wireframe. Don't go into details and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be beautiful. What do you think the homepage of this app needs to look like?
אתה יכול שוב פעם שנייה לעבוד את הדיסקשן?
Got it?
לא.
Got 10 seconds, moving on.
The map itself and when it those buttons should appear on
Homepage?
As an app or as in like a website?
Yeah, talking about it.
think of what the way you just
Okay, stop. Everybody stop. What are we doing now? Stop. What are we doing?
We started drawing before
What are we doing? Right? Stop the foolishness. Alright? right? What are we doing here? We're talking about features, we're talking about tactics, we got into a new startup, right? And we're already talking about the features, we're talking about the onboarding, we're talking about registration, all this stuff. Again, those things are really important, but that's not what's important for a startup, right? We're talking about a startup, we're talking about something that we know that there were a lot of other players in this market that didn't work and it didn't, they didn't succeed. Why are we talking about that? Why is this all this wireframes and homepage and these features? Why do we get into that?
Because
I told you, exactly. But the problem is, okay, that this happens to us as product managers as well. Okay, we get into usually we're getting told what to do, right? We need to do this. We need to define the features. We need to think how we're going to do this, how we're going to get that, and it's very hard for us to see the overall picture and to get into strategy. Now, again, I'm not here to blame anyone because it's very difficult, okay? Especially when you're a junior, or it doesn't necessarily have to be a junior. But when you begin and you have a boss and somebody tells you, okay, but this is what I want you to do, it's very hard to say, okay, but I think that we need to do something else, okay? Going between being someone who deals with tactical stuff that's on a day-to-day basis, which is, let's be honest, 90% of our work, which is very, time-consuming and keeps us always under a lot of pressure and a lot of expectations from our bosses. Holding back, saying, okay, now I want to stop and pause and go and have another different perspective, like a 30,000 feet perspective of where we should go strategically, is very hard. Okay, but it's still part of the job, and it's still something that we need to do, even if we're not defined, we don't have the role of a VP product or the CEO. Okay, we still need to do that. Okay, so what do we need to do, and where do we really need to start? And why does the ticker doesn't work? Okay, so I kind of missed that with the slide. So what we've been doing right now are like the lemmings. Okay, I might be a bit old here, and everybody's too young. I don't know who remember that game. The lemmings game, right? It was a game that you had these little creatures. They would fall off a cliff. They would go off one after another. But we kind of have a tendency to do that, right? Because people tell us what to do, and we just do that, even if it's not necessarily the right thing to do. Okay? So what is product strategy? It's kind of like an elusive term, right? We hear it a lot, but nobody really knows how to define it. Okay? There are a lot of definitions that we go into them, but one of the key definitions of strategy, by the way, it's not product strategy, is, anybody know this guy? Anybody did an MBA who doesn't know this guy, Michael Porter? Tell me which MBA you did, and we should let them know. But Michael Porter was like the father of modern strategy. I don't think there is an MBA class or program that doesn't have him in some course or five. One of the key things that he said, a lot of things, but one of the key things that he talked about is that the essence of strategy is choosing what not to do. Now, why is that so important? Why not to do? Focus, okay? Focus is critical, okay? There's always a lot of stuff to do. Always a lot of stuff to do. If we understand what we're not going to do, if we define it for ourselves, it makes our job, our strategic thinking, much easier. Okay, so take that note with us, and we'll continue on. Now, what I'm saying is that we cannot define our product. We want to define our product strategy, right? So that's the key. That's the objective of this workshop, right? But before we do that, before we get into product and later on features and wireframes and all that stuff, what do we need to do in order to define our product strategy? Help me out here.
Define who is the customer.
Okay, that's part of it.
You need viability to see if it's going to worth it.
You can hire yourself. What's the end game? What? Goals, right?
What's the end game? How do we win? What's the end game?
Okay, so goals, end game. Okay, so a strategy is, again, it's a means, right? We don't go out just to plan a strategy. We don't say, okay, what do we do today? Okay, we need to have a strategy. Strategy has to serve a certain goal. Okay, that's how it works. That's how it's defined, right? So, okay, so we have a goal, right? What type of goals do we have in our domain? Moving on, the clicker works. Usually two types of goals, right? When we talk about an organization, right? We have the business goals, right, of the organization, which we need to understand. We need to know, what the objective, the business objective of the company that we work with, what they want to do, right? And we have the product goals, okay? They're not the same thing. Sometimes they're confused, sometimes they're very close, okay? Usually, when you talk about startups, we see that they're very similar in the way that they're defined, but they're not necessarily the same, okay? And we need to understand and we need to have them in front of our eyes when we start talking about strategy. We can't strategize, we can't think about strategy and draw and develop our strategy without understanding these goals. Okay, so it seems like a really simple step and like an obvious step, but we need to make sure that we have that and we have that in front of our eyes. Okay, so let's have the backstory of this company and this project that we're working on. Okay, so this company has raised $1 million in seed funding. They have a great technical team. They've developed some stuff around activity, knowing if I'm driving, if I park, if I'm going back to my car, and all that stuff. We have all that technology, embedded already. Have a great marketing team that knows the American market, and that's where they're targeting. Okay, the target market is the U.S. The pilot is going to be in San Francisco, which is
Share with us later this presentation.
everything. I'm going to share everything, including myself.
And the video.
And the video, yeah. And the CEO, okay, this is really important. The CEO is a great leader, very, very charismatic, okay? That's why he raised $1 million of seed funding without having anything, without having a product. And he's really good at selling, okay? But he doesn't come from a product background, okay? He said, okay, that's the idea, that's what I want to do. I don't really care how we do that, but that's something that I've sold. Now, let's develop it.
When do we define if there's a product, if there's a market need for that?
We're getting into that. Okay. And the business goal, right? We said the business goal is really important for us. Okay, that's how it was defined. Okay, to build a revenue cow, right? In terms of that's based on low cost of acquisition and high lifetime value per user. Okay, which is again very optimistic and.
What does the user pay for? What is the
user pays for the service. We'll get into that, okay? But the service that the user pays for getting a parking spot where he wants to be, or shortening the time that he needs to wait to find a parking spot, let's say, okay?
So it's per parking.
What's that?
Per parking space.
Yeah, that's it. Again, everything's gonna be open, all right? We're gonna discuss everything, okay? So, what do you think are the product goals? You know the business goal, right? Make a lot of money, okay, which is very simplistic. We'll get back to that in a second. But how would you define, okay, if you're the VP product of this company, okay, the boss says, look, well, I want to build a parking app, this is what we want to do. I want it to not cost us a lot of money to bring in new users, and I want the lifetime value of the users to be really, super high, right? So you can say like, okay, great, I want you to pay me $1 million a month as well, but that's your job, right? That's what he says. He's not product oriented. He's a good salesperson, and he convinces you that that's what he needs to do. What do you do? What are product goals?
I think the first one, and most companies forget about it, is be user friendly and easy to use. Some companies, my own company, that I work with, also tends to develop some very complicated product that sometimes I get feedback from customers. I don't know how to use it. I don't understand. There are not enough tutorials. So what you need to do is, like she said previously, like in Tango, you just click one big button, and there you go. You don't need to overthink it.
Okay.
Just a question. Does the app already have users or not?
No. Still, it hasn't been developed yet.
Does the business goal to acquire a user?
Okay.
Is it?
That's a product goal?
Provide value.
Okay, provide value, but that's really.
Like provide real value to be reliable source for sort of
How would you
information.
define it? Okay, we're getting there.
I think it's also to save the customer time, like the time, the time factor to when you want to park, you don't want to spend a lot of time. So the whole value add is to save them time and then give them a competitive edge over the next person trying to find a park. That's what I see.
Okay, I think it's a lot like that.
It's about acquiring and monetizing to capture the goals, the business goals. Is the gateway in mind.
High retention.
Okay, one more, and sorry, just want to move on.
Maybe
Yeah.
a smooth customer journey in terms of making the customer or the consumer to be more joyful about the product itself.
Okay, so I'll stop you here, and I'll ask you a few questions that you guys didn't ask, which you should. Okay? You're getting close to that. We'll talk about that in a second, okay? Because there are a lot of things that we need to understand, okay? So what are the product goals? What is a goal, right? If a goal is something that you mark, you say, okay, that's where I need to be, okay? And if your boss didn't tell you that that's your goal, you need to define it for yourself. But first of all, that's really nice, but then you still need to meet that goal, right? Saying I need to have an app that's user-friendly, sleek, or even beautiful, that could be nice, it could be a goal, but is that a good goal? I'm not necessarily sure. Okay, we need to ask ourselves, wait a second, in what time frame? Okay, we have $1 million, okay, that's not gonna last for 5 years, right? So I'll ask the questions and answer, okay? So you come to your boss, the CEO, and say, okay, so let's really make sure that we understand and let's define the goals a little bit more clearly. What's the time frame? It tells you, okay, for 12 months. Why? Because that's when we're probably going to run out of money, and I'll need to raise more money back then. Okay? What's the purpose? Okay, why you need? So obviously you need to serve the business objective, the business goal. Okay, but the business goal was really, really broad, right? We talked about having a cash cow, making a lot of money, right? He wants to be the next. Not Uber, because they're not making money, but Google in terms of generating a lot of revenues and income and all that. But the thing needs something more practical, right? It's pretty obvious that you're not going to have a cash cow in 12 months, right? Unless you're Groupon in the first year that they were active, right? So you need to be more specific and better understand where this is going. So you ask, okay, so what's the purpose? Let's put it in the corner and say, okay, I need to understand exactly what it is. Well, okay, I need it for the next fundraising, okay? 12 months, we're gonna run out of money. Before that, a little bit before that, I want to see that I have some sort of asset, okay? This is a whole topic that I have a lecture about. I'm not gonna get into that, but the process that we're talking about here is thinking in assets. Okay, so the CEO says, okay, I need some assets. I need something to show to my investor to put on the table and say, okay, I have a business deal. I have this, I have that, I have something that is tangible, something that I can build within 12 months, and it would help me when I come to the investor to raise the next funding round. Okay? So now, when I know that, these are possible goals, okay? Or these are, I'm not going to say the correct goals because there's never one correct answer, especially when we talk about product and even more, especially when we're talking about strategy. But the thing that usually we want to do when we're talking about startups is get product market fit. Now you can say, okay, that's very elusive as well, right? How do you know that you've reached product market fit and what does it mean? We're not going to really go into that, but what you really want to aim is to reach that point, okay? To make a product that you get. So basically what it means, just like in a nutshell, product market fit means that the demand from the market is so strong that it's self-propelling. Okay, that the market wants you strongly enough that usually you don't even need to push that strongly in terms of marketing, and the demand is much stronger than the supply. Okay, so you really want to reach that. That's again very elusive and really hard to reach goal. It's been 12 months, but still something that you usually want to reach. And basically, that's it. Right? Basically, that's all that you want to do. If you can get product market fit within a certain time frame, within the time frame of when your boss wants to raise money again. Then you've reached a really, really good point where you can show your investors that you have a lot of clients coming in, they're bringing in their friends, there's a viral action around this, everybody wants this, there's a buzz around it, and things are moving right.
Does your product has to be fully functional, or it can be just still testing beta or whatever?
So we're talking about the goal. Okay?
Yeah, you're talking about the goal, but you're saying 12 months, and at the end of these 12 months, you'll have something to show to investors as a working product. You'll say, listen, we're very close to finish this product, but we are still not there. We need more money. And
No, so I want to make it clear. I'm not talking about building a product. I'm talking about product market fit. It's not about a theoretical product. It's not showing that I've built a product or I can build a product. Product market fit means that there's a product out there that's open to it. Again, it depends on the type of product, but that it's drawing in more clients, more demand, then you need to push towards it. Okay, that it's doing a great job. Okay, the people want it, people demand it, there's a need for the market for it, and they're understanding. Okay, so when you put that as your goal, obviously you need to derive back and think, okay, obviously I need to build a product first. But yes, that's one of the things that you do. And now we're going to talk about the strategy of how do we get there. Okay? Are we clear on that point? Everybody understand product market fit? Okay, so again, startup. In most cases, we'll talk about product market fit. By the way, if we're not talking about startups or a company that's already past product market fit, what do we usually look at? What's usually the goal? Growth, okay. Retention, but for what? Why do you want retention? Why do you want traffic? You want money, right? And usually you want to optimize. Okay, so you already have that. We have those things, and you want everything to be better. Okay, so you want to convert better. You want to get more money, unit economy in terms of for each single user. You want to generate more revenue. It's advertising or in-app purchases, whatever. We're not going to get into that, but usually it's optimized. Okay, so if you have a product that's already reached product market fit, market wants it, so the demand for it, now you want to make it better and make it into the cash cow that the CEO was talking about. Okay? So let's move on. So now we can finally get into strategy, right? We know where we want to be, we want to reach product market fit, that's our product goal. Let's define our strategy. No. There are a lot of things that we need to do, okay? And before we get into strategy, before we get into what we need to do, we need to understand, define and understand what strategy is, okay, and why it's so important, okay? So, strategy, this is one of the definitions of strategy. By the way, Richard Roman, if anybody read his book, Good Strategy, Bad Strategy, strongly recommend it. It's all about strategy. But it's very interesting. It's a light book that's very interesting. I have a lot of quotes here. One of the things that he wrote is that strategy coordinates action to address specific challenge. Okay? What does that mean? So what's the key word here?
Challenge.
Specific.
Coordinating.
Okay, so challenge could be it, but coordinate. Okay? Because we can, the strategy comes from origin of strategy is mainly military. Okay? Because it came from that because 2,000, 3,000, I don't know, 4,000, but maybe even 4,000 years ago, what people usually, like the organizations, the biggest organizations were armies, right? And battles and all that stuff. And this guy, Hannibal of Carthage, one of the best known strategists, military strategists, he was famous for knowing how to use his strength, okay, to coordinate action and to get better results and just say, okay, you know, I have 1,000 soldiers, you have 800 soldiers, so we'll just go head to head and I'll probably win, right? So that's strategy, right? Finding, coordinating things and getting an edge, okay? The whole, what's the strategy, like the Israeli army strategy, used to be very famous for it. We always talked about that. It doesn't happen that much.
Small and efficient.
And efficient, but why is it efficient? Because
the strongest.
Not because we were stronger, smarter, but well, how do we? Okay.
Sophisticated.
Independent.
Try the Hebrew. What's the word?
Innovative.
Innovative, yes, but wow. cunning, right? Tachmuna. And the word tachmuna used to be something that, was like very famous. When we talked about 30, 40 years ago, all the really, really interesting operations were really, really cunning in terms of the things that we used to do. Now we're stronger and it's easy. But that's what it used to be, okay? So we need to be cunning. We need to get an edge. That's what strategy means, okay? Taking your strength and finding a way to synergize them and find a way to actually get to your barriers in a more efficient way to, again, 1 + 1 to make it 3. Another quote that I use, the most basic idea of strategy is that is the application of strength against weaknesses, or if you prefer, strength applied to the most promising opportunity. Okay? Talking about, again, not necessarily the synergy, but directing and focusing things in one place where you have an edge. Okay? Where does the strategy stand in terms of positioning of this axis? If you guys have seen Simon Sinek's talks and all that, of why, how, and what, in terms of what we do of a startup or any company. So the strategy is the how. Okay, so usually we know what we're doing, we know the vision, we know where we want to go, that's the goal, right? That's where we want to be. We know what we're doing, usually we know what to do. Okay, so that's the technology, that's the call it the graphical design, all the stuff that we do on a day-to-day basis. But the strategy is the how. Okay, how do we get those things? What's the path that brings us there? The whole middle ground of planning and analyzing and knowing how to take the best approach, that's strategy. So where should we begin? First of all, we need to define. What do we need to define? The problem. Okay? We always have to begin by defining the problem, and some of you have discussed that, so I won't get into that. One of the key things that we as product managers have to better understand the problem. We have to know that we're tackling the right problem and we're doing it in the right way. Okay, so the problem sometimes looks easy, but sometimes it could be very elusive. Sometimes it looks like on the surface it's very simple, but it could be more complicated because we don't understand the core of it. And there's a really, really simple drill or exercise that you can do to get to the why, to understand why is that a problem, to ask yourself why is that really the problem. It's called the 5 whys. You heard of it? Yeah. Invented by the guy from Toyota. And basically what it is, who said yeah? Okay, so you explain it.
You need to ask yourself why after each answer you give.
Exactly.
And then you get to the core, so that you can get to the core of the problem.
Exactly. We're trying to understand the core. Okay, we're trying to understand why is that the problem? Why is that defined as a problem? And usually when we do that, we get to the bottom of it. And sometimes we find out that what we're doing, we're actually trying to address something, a pain point or a desire or a need that isn't that obvious up on top. Okay, and we'll get to that in a second. So we talked about the 5 whys. So going back to your putting back your thinking cap, going back to our parking app. What's the problem? Finding park. Okay, but and take it forward. Okay, so I give you guys 3 minutes. Okay, each one of you try to think what the problem is, and ask yourself whatever you wrote down. Ask yourself why. Okay, and whatever you wrote down after that, ask yourself why. Try to go down 5 levels. It's not that easy after the first or second level, but try to get to the core of the problem. Yeah.
Like in this case, why is the problem parking? Why is there a problem in the city, or why is there a problem for me?
So now we talk about the user. Okay, great question. We're not talking about our problem, developing it or finding the solution. We're talking about the user. Okay, the user's problem.
Not
right?
because there's too many cars, because I have short time, for example.
No, by the way, that could be the user problem. I'm not saying that the problem is not that it's difficult to develop and I need a big team. Okay, it's more about the market and the user. Why does the user have a problem? Okay? אל תיכנס לבעיות של התשתיות של זה. בכל זאת, זה גם כיוון, אגב. תיכנס אנחנו עושים את זה כרגע בדומיין שלנו. איך אנחנו יכולים לעשות
ואז כתבו את זה בבית ווייט, והגיעו לשני שונים לגמרי בנקרות.
So guys, I'm stopping you again. Guys and girls, everybody. Please, who wants to share their idea? So why? What's the problem? What's the core problem here?
It's not easy and it's not fast to find
It's not easy to find parking. Why?
There's a scarcity.
There's scarcity. Why is there scarcity?
Because it's a dense population in Tel Aviv. It's dense.
Okay.
public transportation for other means.
Okay. Those are great problems, but they're kind of like sidestepping us, right? Because it's not something that that we can again take back a step back. Okay. Could be something that someone else might be doing, but we're talking about something that could be more practical if we want to address a problem that we want to address. Yeah.
Why? Because I'm not at the right place at the right time.
Okay, great. Right, because if I was all the time, if I would know how to be...
You only need one.
Exactly. If I knew where someone was coming out of his parking place, right, that'd be great.
The right approach would be finding place to park is frustrating. In order to solve that frustrating, this is
I completely understand that. But where do we take it? Why is it frustrating? Why is there a problem here?
Because my timing is bad. I'm not at the right place at
Do you
the
agree
right
with
time.
that? Do you agree with this point?
Most definitely.
No?
But I think also because everybody wants to own the car and there's not enough parking space for that.
No, you're right. Okay? There are a lot of problems, okay? But we need to understand the core problem that will lead us to understand the pain point and where we can find a solution. Okay, we need to find something that that we can address, something that's the core problem for our users. Okay, it could be right if there were like 10 times more parking spaces, right? It wouldn't be a problem, but it is a problem. Okay, so where is it addressed? Where is it? Okay, so that's a good direction. Okay, if we could get people to, if I would know where people are going out as they're parking, right? I could. It wouldn't be a problem for me anymore. Okay? So why doesn't that happen? Okay, we're taking a step forward. Why doesn't that happen?
I don't know when someone will unlocked.
Okay, why? Why don't I know that?
Because people who park are not connected to each other.
There's no communication system connects them.
Okay, great. That's a great direction. Why aren't they connected to each other?
There's no reason, there's no incentive for them to.
Okay, great point. There's no incentive, right? If there was an incentive, it's going to happen, right? But there's no incentive. Nobody was doing that. Okay? Let's try to take it one level even lower than that. We'll talk about incentive, which is kind of like a core issue.
If I will give someone a parking spot, I want to get back parking spot at another day.
Okay, what else?
Sounds like a centric, right? So everybody wants to find their own parking spot without the others know about it. So.
Yeah, but if you're looking for a spot, you don't care that somebody else is leaving, right? And the other way around, right? So two different people that are, if we can find it, like put them together, it would be great. What was you saying? Sorry.
There's no infrastructure that allows them to be able to create channel of communication. Although I understand people are creating WhatsApp groups on their road.
Okay, haven't heard of that, but interesting. What did you say?
There are no means. I don't have the means to know when a parking spot is being available, or to announce that I'm freeing a parking spot?
When I'm freeing the parking spot, I don't care. I need to go somewhere. I don't care if someone gets the space, doesn't get the space. I'm going to my way.
Okay, that's a great point, right? Right. So there's one person in this exchange who doesn't really care, right? He has this really valuable thing and he doesn't really care. Just
He needs to earn something.
okay, so now we're starting to think about, okay, this gets interesting, right? There's some sort of incentive behind the scenes that if we could utilize this, if we could address that specific problem, maybe we can solve the whole thing. Okay, so that's the idea. Okay, we could go on for a long time and find other things, but that's the one thing that we were looking at, and keep that in mind. Okay, the whole incentive, the whole getting two sides to both want to do this, that's the core. That's the core problem that we want to address. Okay, everybody agree on that? Again, that's one core problem. There are many others. Great. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so we said looking for parking is frustrating because it's a process that you can't expect its result. Okay, it's one of the frustration points, by the way, that it's not something that you know is going to take you 10 minutes. Okay, because psychologically, if we know something will take 10 minutes, say, okay, I know I came here, it's going to take 10 minutes. I know at least when it's going to end, right? Parking can take you 10 minutes, it can take you an hour. Just don't know, and it drives us crazy, not knowing. When you leave your parking spot, you just want to go, right? You don't have no, and you don't want anybody to. You don't want to wait for anybody. Like
you don't even want to announce that you're leaving.
Yeah, you don't want all of that, right?
Any friction is.
Exactly. You just want to go. You don't want to prepare for that, right? The whole thing. It's not interesting. Once you're there, it's not interesting. And there's different, this is one thing that we've added, that I didn't say, that there's different types of urgencies. Okay, sometimes you're saying, okay, I'm willing to pay 100 shekels or $100 to find a parking spot next to my house, because I know that if I'm not going to find it here, it's going to be, 15 minutes walk, and it's raining and whatever, and I have a baby in my car, right? And sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's like, okay, fine, I'm willing to keep on going, and I know that there's parking like 200 meters, and I just, I'm greedy and I want to find something closer, right? So there are different types of demands out there, and nobody knows what types of demands, right? The car in front of you, you don't know if he's going just in front of you, and he might get the spot before you. But if you would know that, I don't know, if you would be willing to pay $100 for it, maybe he would have given it to you, right? But again, just throwing different ideas, different interpretations of the problem. Okay? And one more thing, when we talk about moving on with this problem or finding a resolution for it, it needs to have the whole network effect is something that's very important. Okay, so if we have this solution, let's say that we find a solution, but we don't have enough people doing this, right? It's all about mass amount of people doing it, right? So if we have this great app and has all the great solutions, but only 10 people in Tel Aviv have it, it's not going to help me because the chances of us meeting at the same time are going to be very steep. So it has to grow very, very quickly. So strategically, what do we need to do at this stage? All right. We need to design a product solution, right? Come on, guys. You need to start understanding the way that I'm running this. No. Okay, before we get into the actual design or the path or how we want to do this in terms of the user experience and the value proposition and all of those things, we need to understand the product process. Okay? What's the process that we need to go through to reach our goal in the optimal or the most efficient way for us to do this, right? Because we're a product manager. Okay? We need to find a solution, but it's not going to help us if we're going to find a solution in 24 months, right? Because we need to get to our goal in 12 months. Okay, so we need to look at the whole path, the whole journey, and find where we need to focus, what not to do, the whole strategic aspect of it.
Do you have to test your hypothesis first and check that you're on track?
It's part of that. It's part of that, and we'll get to that. It's one of the steps along the way, but you're absolutely right. Okay, so the strategic path to reaching our goal is something that we need to plan out. We need to make sure that we have enough time to do that. We need to see that we have all the steps ahead of us. We need to make sure that we're not sidestepping and we're going and seeing opportunities that might not be relevant and might take us astray. Okay, so let's start again. Okay, strategically, what do we need to do at this stage? Okay, research is part of it. You're absolutely right. We need to research. We need to understand what's going on.
What did other people do?
Okay, why did other apps fail? Okay.
How did they succeed? If someone succeeded, we need to check it out as well.
Okay.
We need to talk with potential consumers to learn more about their pain and how can we solve this pain.
Okay. What else? Good. Absolutely right. What else? I'll start going through the things. But before we get into the users, okay? We talk about the path, okay? We're not getting into, we're not even talking to the developer, okay? We're not talking to the developer, trying to understand the process, okay? I'll walk us into this because I want to leave us enough time to go over the other stuff. Well, we want to identify the barriers and the key challenges, okay? Remember when we talked about strategy? The strategy is finding a way, a smart way, cunning way, strategic way to address our barriers and challenges. Okay, so first of all, we need to understand them. We need to understand where they lie, where they're going to stop us. What's the riskiest thing that, not the assumption, but what's the riskiest thing that can happen along the way, and the things that we need to overcome and achieve. Usually, by the way, it's not developing a product, right? Because developing a product, okay, you get enough developers, you have enough development time, you have enough money to develop usually anything that you want. Okay, just proving that you can develop a product, that's not usually something that's that risky. We want to see what are the barriers, usually from the market side, and how can we address them. Okay? We want to understand that we're solving them not just by saying, okay, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is the problem. We need to see that we find a way to solve them by leveraging our strength. Okay, we have some strength. Again, usually when we're startups, we don't have a lot of strength. We don't have a lot of people. We don't have a lot of time. We don't have a lot of money. But we can address, we can have our strength being more cunning, more having a different approach that's more interesting and faster, that will get us faster to where we need to be. We need to make assumptions. Okay, we talked about that a little bit to see what are the things that we rely on that will happen. So one assumption could be that we can develop this in 4 months. Okay, another assumption is that we can identify that a user has left his parking spot. Okay, there are many assumptions. We need to understand that it's part of the process that we need to go through. We need to validate the market. Okay, make sure that there is a market. Okay, this is like getting closer to product market fit and trying to understand if we're in the right direction. We want to see if there's a market, there's a demand for it. Usually, what we'll do is we'll try to test the riskiest assumptions, the assumptions that we talked about before. Some of them will be market related. Okay, we want to know if people are really interested. Okay, we want to know if people are willing to pay for a parking spot. A parking spot on the street, not a parking spot in a parking lot. Okay, sounds reasonable, but we don't know that. Right? We need to build a way to validate these key assumptions. Because, for example, if this assumption is false, okay, and for some reason the people in San Francisco or in Tel Aviv are absolutely, it's a cultural thing. They're not willing to pay for a parking spot that's outside and not in a parking lot. Okay, then you have a problem, right? Then whatever you do, you can have the best app in the world, can be the prettiest, the most effective, the most, well, it's not going to be effective, but the most, I don't know, whatever, sexiest or whatever, but it's not going to help you because people are just not going to do it, right?
There's another big risk we haven't thought about. Maybe that, let's say in Tel Aviv you have the blue and white sidewalks. You're going to get a negotiation with the city hall to make sure it's going to be paid for up front. Otherwise, you're going to charge it for the parking spot, and then they have to, Pango, it's like double charging. So
maybe, but you need to think: is that one of the riskiest assumptions?
I think so, because as you said, maybe people won't be willing to pay for it, if they want to be double charged.
So if it's something that you think is a very risky assumption and everything could fall because that doesn't validate, you need to test it. Okay? Usually what we do when we test it, we go down through the funnel. When we want to validate things, we want to test our riskiest assumption. There are a few ways that you can do this. There are many ways that you can do this. The most popular ways, or the most things that we usually do, first of all, try to simulate usage, see if users can understand what they're doing and understand the value that we bring, the value proposition. That's one thing. The other thing is to simulate the market. the market demand. Okay, give them something. An example would be like an ad or something, or offer this to them and see if they're willing to come and see if this interests them. It could be an ad for this app. It could be a landing page, just to make sure that people really want it. Okay, so that's the path. Okay, now what I want you guys to think of is,
when are you checking the feasibility of the solution?
So it's a great question. Okay, is that a risky assumption? It could be.
Yes.
It could be, but I think that today, well, I'll ask you guys, from your experience in the apps that you developed or the apps that you know, how many of them do you think were super complicated, or there was a chance that they wouldn't have been able to be developed?
Yes.
Some of them, yes. What do you guys think? Like, how many of the apps? Let's talk about even the most successful apps. Instagram, Facebook,
I
Spotify.
think the best example you can see from the last year is Better Place. They built great solution, but the technology was not mature enough. The solution was not feasible because the battery could not charge the car for a long enough time.
Maybe it was the market, maybe it was their marketing, maybe it was the story. As you can see, Tesla wasn't doing much more than that. But I don't want to go into that, but it is a valid point. But I think that today, especially when we're talking about, again, if we're talking about startups in the domain of the digital domain, apps, websites, things like that, and we're not talking about semiconductors and very deep tech things. Because in that aspect, it's usually the technology. When we talk about the digital age, it's usually not that risky. Okay, the risk could be that it could take much longer than you expected, right? Instead of 6 months, it could take you 12 months, and then you're in a big problem, right? But usually, you get developers, they will build you what you want. Okay, the development challenge, technical challenge, or technological challenge is not as deep as it used to be. Okay, so the answer is yes and no. Okay, it could be a big assumption, a risky assumption. In most cases, it's not. Okay, and it's important to understand that and address that. And because a lot of startups, what they do, they focus on that. Okay, let's prove that we can build a product. Okay, a lot of times it's not something that's convincing. Okay, fine, you came to your just finished. You came to your investor after a year and you're showing them a product. Okay, they tell you, great. You have a product. Doesn't mean that the market wants it. You just prove that you can build it. Okay, it wasn't that complicated.
At some point, you need to make sure it's feasible. Maybe it would be very easy. It's an app. It's very easy to develop. But I have to put at some point that my idea is feasible.
You're absolutely right. I'm not saying it's not. I'm talking about the riskiest one. Okay, so basically what I'm saying is that you need to make sure that you prioritize your assumptions, your tests, to check the riskiest one first. Okay, that's the idea. So, how do we define, and we'll do this together, okay, I won't give you time, we'll just work with it together. How do we define the core barriers and challenges to our app? Okay, going back to the parking app, okay, we talked about the things that we talked about, the core problem, right? We need to get the people together at the same time. We need to get incentives for these people, right? These are the things that we talked about, that's what the company set up. Now, let's think about what are the barriers to reaching that. What are the things that could stop us from reaching those, answering those problems?
Or getting into the user's phone, being an app on his phone.
Okay, so that's a marketing challenge. Okay. Let's try to look more into the product side of things. Okay, let's try to break it up into these small chunks, the bullets. Okay, so let's look at the first one. Okay, looking for parking is frustrating. Okay, it's a process you can't expect its results. Okay, what can we do? What kind of experience can we give? What kind of value proposition can we give the user? Okay, now we're looking for the user. That will address that. What's the challenge?
They'll find the parking spot in 5 minutes.
Okay, so if we promise you, okay, if we give you a promise, say, okay, this is what we give you. We promise that you have a parking spot in 5 minutes or in.
If you don't find it, we'll refund your money, whatever.
Okay.
No, it's a risky.
Can we do that?
Everything is
That's exactly. Okay, so I'll stop here and take a step back. It's really important. It's a really important question, and it's important to emphasize the process that we're doing. Can we do that? That's exactly the process that we're doing. Thinking about the strategy. We understand that these are the problems, these are the core problems that we identified with. Now we want to see if we can do that, right? Because if we can't do that, okay, let's stop right now and not continue. Let's take $1 million and then go home, right? But we have to address that, okay? The problem is, and it's kind of like what we discussed, that a lot of startups, a lot of product people say, okay, that's a problem, okay? Well, I'll get to that, but I need to develop the app, I need to do the onboarding, we'll get to that at the end, right? And that's a big problem, right? Because sure, you have work, and you give work to your developers, and everything is going to be fine for 10 months, 11 months, okay? But then, okay, you might have an app, and it has all the things that you need, right? It has onboarding, and it has registration, all that stuff, but it doesn't address the core issue, okay? It doesn't give anything innovative. It's not cutting. It's not strategic. You need to find a strategic problem and strategic solution to your problem, because otherwise, you're just working for the sake of working. Okay, there's a lot of talk about, again, I'm not going to go into that, just like a point about the difference between outcomes and outputs. You heard of that? There's a lot of talk about that. That us as the product managers, we need to make sure that we're focusing on the outcomes and not the outputs. Because what's an output? Output is that you have a machine, it's working, it needs to do whatever in an hour. And that's kind of like, again, without insulting developers, we have it here, kind of like developers, right? They need to be fed with work, with tasks, and stuff that need to be done. Okay, a lot of time, what happens is that we get too caught up in feeding that chain of features or whatever, that we don't see that we don't analyze and check if the things that they're doing actually brings us the output that we want. The actual change, the actual value that we need for the user. Okay? We won't go into that, a whole lecture about that maybe next time. But those are the core things that we need to understand. Okay, so moving on to the next step. Okay, now looking at the person who's leaving his parking spot. Okay, what do we say that the problem was there? Right?
I don't want no friction when I'm leaving my parking spot.
Okay, I don't want friction, right? What do I do need? An incentive, right? I need something to stay here, right? I need something. So we're talking about. So what can we do? Think of ideas. Okay, we can give money. Okay, we give
him another free card. I don't know, gift card. Whatever.
Could be altruistic. Doesn't usually work, but it could be. Yeah.
Sense of community and
maybe you charge them per time that they are parking. They have to say that they are leaving, like Pango.
Or the more parking spaces that you say that you're leaving, you will be gratified with finding a parking space faster than next time you find it.
Okay, so that's the teaching. Okay, why? Because it puts together it answers a few things and it uses our strength, right? Because we already have those people, we already have those people. If we find something that we can utilize and bring, one and one together, then we can get three out of it.
The marketplace.
What's that?
The marketplace. Market leaders and
okay, now we're getting there, right. So if we get up the parking place, okay, we also get to the point of number 3. Okay, we kind of like jump into that because, like we said before, right, there are some people that say, okay, I'm willing to pay $100 to find a parking spot here. But others are saying, okay, I don't really care, right? And you can put them both together and tell them, like, well, you can, but I don't know if it's not strategic enough. If there's somebody leaving, okay, you want to match him, like we said, in the marketplace, with someone who has who's willing to pay more, right? Because then everybody's happy.
So the core challenge here with the arbitration, what happens if somebody sells his parking spot but actually doesn't park it?
So that's one of the barriers. You're absolutely right. That's one. You can say it's the core. We're just throwing ideas here, but that's a big barrier that we need to address and find a solution. Okay. What else? Let's talk about the network effects. Okay, now it's very popular and a lot of companies are talking about product-led growth. What does that mean? You heard of this term?
Instagram works better when every one of my friends has it. So my incentive is to spread the product with all my friends. So it'll be better for me.
Exactly. Network effects, NFX, by the way, there's a venture capital firm that does only that. Okay, they're only investing in companies that do network effects. What does it mean? It means that the more people that use this product, the better it is for everyone. Okay? Think about the best example is Facebook. Waze. Waze is even better. Okay, right? Because if I'm the only one using Waze, it doesn't help me. But the other extra person that
gives me some information, they can use it, utilize it.
Exactly, it's better. Facebook as well, Instagram as well. There are a lot of things that the more people that use it, the better it is for me. So I have an incentive to actually spread the word and get more people to do it. Okay, so if we can get it here, if we can get something within the app to help it spread on its own, that would be amazing. Right? Because we know it's a challenge. We know growing and all the scaling part is always a challenge, and we always need to do that, and something that the investors want to see. It's part of the goal. It's part of the things that we want.
By the way, one thing you can think about it. I mean, some companies, they only realize that once they're building the product and it's not working in their specific market, they can outsource it to some place that it can work. You know, for example, if I'm thinking about Israel, she talked about friction. You know, you can only imagine you'll tell someone I'm saving this spot to someone who bought this parking space, and you know, he's an Israeli who'll come out of the car, you know, start shouting at me. Whereas maybe in Japan, you know, it's I'm saving this spot, okay, and they'll drive by, and you know.
Okay, it's another challenge. Another thing that could be the other way around, by the way. If you see that someone just, you know, stepped, you know, just
into the car,
moved close to another car, and just somebody came out and got out for him. You say, okay, that's interesting. What happened here? Maybe they had some sort of thing going on between them. It's interesting. Okay, you get like something, some curiosity, some things around it. Yeah.
Maybe an app like this could face problems from governments where if enough people use it, then you reach a point where you can't park anywhere unless you have this app. So maybe like it's sort of a monopoly. So governments can step in and say, and make a ban on this app because
like Uber.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. When we finish, remind me, and I'll tell you a story of something really similar to this that happened to an app like this. But yeah, it's part of the things that. But now we're talking about trying to find a solution, right? We're trying to defend, not the solution. We're trying to identify the core issues and make sure that we're addressing them. Okay, so I think we talked about most of them. I'll show you what was the ones that we thought of together as a strategic partner here. Okay, so one of the core barriers that we need to get by is to bring supply and demand together from day one. Right? It doesn't help us that you know, we get the first 100 users. It takes us a month to get 100 users. So we're just going to lose them, right? Because there's not going to be enough people, and they're not going to find a partner. Vacators, actually invented this word, because I don't think it's actually exists. Those people who are going out of their parking spot, they need a strong incentive. Okay, if they're not going to have an incentive, they're just going to leave. The incentive needs to be long-term and forward-thinking, because we want them to come back. Okay, we want to make what you said. We want to make a connection between leaving a spot and then thinking of, yeah, it's going to serve me later on, and let's think of how we can do it. If we can get them to think about the next spot, the next time, maybe that they'll get a parking in return. Maybe if they'll stay a little bit longer, and maybe they'll be willing to invest and do the things that they don't want to do, right? Waiting their car. We need to make it worthwhile, okay? Worthwhile for those guys leaving their cars on the one hand, but on the other hand, the challenge for us, you know, we can't just pay them. It'd be the best if we could just give $100 to everybody who waits in his car for 5 minutes to vacate his spot, right? I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people doing that, and there are going to be people, you know, just going from parking to parking and just parking there and just getting the money. By the way, there are a few that did something similar to that, but we need it to be sustainable for us, right? That's not going to work, right? And nobody's going to pay $100 for a parking spot. So we need to find a way, again, a strategic solution, a way for it to work and to be a cunning way for us to get all these strengths together and to get past these barriers. Again, so one of the barriers is the cost for us. Okay? And many apps played and failed in this market before. unexpected twists or early adopters, insiders value, we needed to bring in early adopters. Okay, we need to find something that's sexy, something that's worthwhile to talk about. Again, those are the things that we talk about. We need something that needs to be unique enough for people to say, okay, I'm willing to consider this app. Because at that time there were a few apps that tried to do that, and people just got frustrated because it didn't work and they couldn't find parking, and they're like, okay, I'm not going to try another one. Okay, it needs to be something unique for them to actually say, okay, I'm willing to try this app. Okay, so having said that, okay, and those are the core barriers that we have identified. Now we're going back to the first slide at the beginning, if I remind you, everybody. What's the solution? How do we find a solution for this? Okay, don't have a lot of time, so I'm not going to let you guys think of that on your own. You can think while I talk a little bit, but let's talk about the strategic solution that we find to these core problems. Before that, just a reminder about strategy. Okay, strategy is exactly the opposite of playing fair. Okay, I really like this quote because it's kind of like not fair, but that's exactly what we're doing, right? As a startup, especially as a startup, you can't play fair. Okay, because you're playing against Uber, you're playing against competing against Google and Facebook and whatever. You have to be cunning. I'm not saying not be fair, not being legit, not being against the law, but finding ways to overcome the size advantages that others have. Okay, so you can't be fair by definition. The shortcuts and the trickery used to give ourselves an advantage and impose our position. It dictates where and how we can leverage our advantages to bypass the most challenging barriers. Okay? And this is something that try to think in this direction, or this path or directing quote, whatever you want to call it. And now, we're supposed to do 2 takes of this, but we kind of like ran out of time. So I want to talk about the solution that we did, okay? And hear what you guys think of. It didn't eventually come out; it wasn't developed. But I want to hear what you guys think about the solution, and if it addresses the core, if it's strategic enough, if it addresses the core barriers and the core problems that we have here. Okay. So one of the core features, one of the core solutions that we discussed was making a connection between urgency and credit. Okay, to make it a marketplace, just like you said before. Okay, we want to differentiate people who really need the parking right now and are willing to pay a lot for it, and people who say, okay, I'm willing to pay a little bit. Okay, we also used credits and not money. Not money, with the intent of having this credit circulate within the app. So when you go out of an app, out of a parking spot, you get credit, and then you can use it next time you need it. Okay, so it's part of the
paying membership fee, or
I'll get into everything together at the end, but just think here. I want to address the core solution to the core problem, and then I'll put everything together and just hopefully it makes sense. Okay, but again, thinking strategically, we need to find a solution for this. This is one possible solution. Okay, when people are leaving, all those vacators, as I call them. How do we address their problem? Remember, we said that they need to be compensated. They need some sort of incentive. Okay? So what we did, again, wireframe, of course, it's ugly, and that's the way it's supposed to be, by the way. We said, okay, when you're leaving, first of all, we'll identify that beforehand. I won't go into that, but we have a whole algorithm that knows that you parked somewhere. It gives you a notification when you got out of your car. Are you here exactly? Just to verify that that's the right spot. And then, we'll let you know when we think that you're going back to your car, we'll ask you if you're going out and we'll give you an offer. Okay? And this is the offer that you're going to get. So we identify you're going out of your house and you're going towards your car. We ask you, look, this is what's available here. Okay, we have Dave that's 8 minutes away, and if you choose him, you're choosing your buyer, the person who will replace him. If you choose him, you'll get 3 credits. If you choose Joe, who's 7 minutes away, you'll get 3 credits. If you choose Bob, who's 3 minutes away, you get just 2 credits, and so on. Okay? It could be, it's not necessarily by the time, it could be that Bob is really close, but he's willing to pay more because it's really urgent for him. Okay? So it's up to you. You make the decision. You can say, okay, I don't care. Could be there's another option, by the way, that you would just go and we identify and still give you the credit if somebody came in and reached your spot, even though it's really hard to use. And the third one, which there's still a big problem, right? Because someone needs to say, okay, now I'm leaving my parking spot. Someone else comes there. They need to do some sort of a handshake to understand that they're, to meet and say, okay, that's the right person, right? Because imagine it's nighttime. Somebody, you came, you're in your spot, you want to vacate it, and somebody, with lights on behind you, I don't know if it's there. Okay? Well, we thought, okay, another strategic move, another way to resolve this and get us an edge in terms of virality and all that has to do with network effect, and get around this, is to build some sort of a handshake, like a secret handshake, something that would make it unique. So the thing that we thought about is that we give it a code. Okay, so when the person, so this is the person who's coming to seeking a parking spot, he would come to the place, he would have a code to have his handshake. The handshake would be kind of like Morse code, okay? So 2 long headlight blinks, and then 2 short ones, and then another 2 long ones. And then, if you're in the car, you know that same, if it's nighttime, if it's daytime, maybe it's going to be blinking, whatever. And that's the way you identify. You do like a handshake, and the other person knows it's there. The added value of this is that, that if you're the car behind that person, okay, and you see this guy just driving along, stopping for a second, just flickering his lights, and all of a sudden someone comes out of his parking space and vacates his parking. Hey, that's interesting. Well, what just happened here? Now imagine the second time you see that. That's interesting. I want to be on the action, right? I want to see what's going on. I want to investigate. There's a lot of curiosity around this. A lot of buzz could happen around this again.
Or you just start flickering your lights, hoping that someone will make it.
Maybe, right? But again, we put a code. Okay. Would it have worked? Would people have identified it? I don't know. It's gone to hopefully the optimization part, and maybe not. But that's the idea. It was like something unique, something that would make people think, "Hey, that's interesting. What just happened here? I want to get in on the action." Okay. Early adopters and innovators really love that. They want something interesting happening. So before we get into that, what's the question that you wanted to ask me about how does it all work together? So the business model, just to close things up, the business model will be that you get, when you vacate a parking spot, you get credit, a little bit less than when you go into one. You get like a few credits free when you register, and then when you run out of credits, you can buy them. Okay, so basically there's no money that goes out of the system. So you only pay, the company, only pays the people who are vacating their spots with credit, and we get paid when people want extra credit. Okay, so I ran out of credits, now I want to park, or I don't live in Tel Aviv, I don't have credits to give, but I'm willing to buy credits to park. Okay,
if somebody finds a parking, he finds a parking for free, then you spend credits to get it, but then he vacates and gets credits.
Yeah, so you can accumulate. If you live in a really, really good place in Tel Aviv, you live in, I don't know, Gold or whatever, okay? You can just accumulate credit. Okay? Get that and use it wherever you want.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're not going to get money out of you, but we will get out of other people. So that was basically the idea. So, beginning to sum things up. Okay? Once we have that, okay, once we have our solutions to the core problems, the core barriers, strategic solutions, okay? Now we need to see which assumptions are we making, okay? And here what I'm doing is I'm actually asking which are the assumptions that we would want to test, okay? Thinking strategically, remember again, what's the thing that's most important for us? If it won't happen, we'll have a really, really big problem in terms of this not being successful. So is it going to be, that the features will be simple? KISS, if you know the acronym of Keep It Simple, Stupid. The feature will be beautifully designed in terms of the UI and UX. Usability will be smooth and flawless. Value to the user will be very high. And the user will be very disappointed if we take it away from them. Okay? So which one of these would you say, just raise your hand with the number of fingers that you think is most important, is the one that we need to test initially? We have 5, 1, 5. 4.
I think
Okay.
4 is
3. Okay, so that's the question. I would say, again, there's never an obvious solution. Maybe there could be something else, but usually what we want to see is that this is actually the test, the product market fit test. Okay, if you've heard of that, one of the ways to validate product market fit, even though it's not statistically proven and there's no true test and nothing can tell you for certain that we reach product market fit. But one of the things is that if you ask your people, the users, tell them, look, I'm sorry, but we need to close down the startup, or I need to take this feature away from you, how disappointed will you be? If you have more than 40% of the people saying we're going to be very disappointed, please don't take it, I'm begging for you not to do it, then it means that you're doing something right. Okay? The contrary to that, if you're going to take this feature away, people are going to say, okay, fine, going to be maybe a little bit disappointed, but it doesn't mean that, I can always have alternatives in other apps, or I can still use your app for something else, then it means that this feature, or this product that you have, doesn't necessarily have, or hasn't necessarily reached the product.
By the way, there's another risk that, there are copycats. You're developing an app and someone coming from China, let's say, and they develop it in 2 months, just copy.
You're right, there's always that aspect. We won't go into that in this discussion, but sure.
There's also aren't the 1, 2, 3, I guess 4 the things that are produced sometimes is that they are elements. Sometimes, in order for users to force something to have value, or someone to be disappointed to take it away, then likely the feature would have been simple enough for it usable. It was the UX of it was good enough for it to
You're right, but I'll stress that point. It's good enough. Okay. The question of good enough, again, there's a whole lecture about that as well. But when is it good enough, and when are we doing too much? Okay. So I think the first ones are really easy to differentiate. A lot of times, we put a lot of effort and a lot of resources into making something really, really simple, really, really beautiful. Where the value is obvious. Okay. You could have done, an ugly feature, but it still would have brought the value to the users, and it would have been very disappointed if we take it away from them. Could have been done. Especially when we're talking about startups, that's the whole, MVP and lean movement. We're talking about, and we want to stay focused on these, okay, and not go into these because we have a tendency to go into them. It's more fun and sexy, going to design and all that stuff. But we need to stay focused. Okay? Yeah.
Again, taking into account regulation. The strategy should be considering regulation and regulations that may appear after the product you introduced.
You're absolutely right.
Starting to monetize public property.
You're absolutely right. It's one of the risks. The question is if it's
I'm an investor, that's my first question.
It could be.
Coconuts didn't, and that's driving.
Yeah, and still, they've done that, and Uber, by the way, are doing it, and they were, illegal almost all over the world, and they still see how much they're worth. It's one of the risks. Absolutely right. It's one of the risks. The question is, how risky is it?
And how much to mitigate it in our strategy if we, target some consistent the first year and stuff like that.
You're right. But again, it's very strategic. Where do you want to put it in terms of priority, and how urgent is it, and how risky is that? Usually, in most cases, the whole law and regulation stuff takes a while until you get there, and when you reach that point, usually you have enough money or investors or whatever to act on that. Right? If it comes in earlier, not a problem. And again, remind me to tell you the story of a similar app that happened. That did something similar to this. Okay, we have time for the superhuman case study. No, we're supposed to finish right now. But just touch it a little bit. Has anybody heard of superhuman?
Yeah.
One person. That's our product managers. You need to know these things. One of the things you need to do right now, first of all, you need to read and you need to know the industry that we live in. It's really important. There are a lot of things that are happening all the time. I strongly encourage you to do that. Superhuman is a startup that's very young. I think it's less than a year old. They have a lot of buzz around them in Silicon Valley and all that. What they did, they do an email app. Okay? Not very, doesn't sound like something very neat. An email app that costs you money to use it. Think about Gmail that costs you money. All getting what they're doing, but they did something very, very unique in terms of how they built in terms of strategy and how they planned their path to product market fit. So they actually reverse engineered the whole 40% disappointed thing. And again, I won't go into that. I encourage you to just read about Superhuman and what they did. The product process is very, very interesting. We don't know if it's going to work or not. Currently, they're very hyped and everybody's talking about it, and they've raised a lot of money, but nobody knows what will come out of it. So that's that. How do we test our assumptions? Just really, really quickly to go over this. How did we plan to test our assumptions? So first of all, internally, you've heard of the Amazon way or the Jeff Bezos way, where what he tells his employees or his product managers, everybody who comes in with a new press release, exactly. Everybody comes in with a new idea, says, okay, great. Tell me what's the press release going to be. Before you even start developing, designing, whatever, tell me how you're going to market it. What are people going, not us, other people going to say about this product? If it sounds good enough, okay, it's the easiest thing to iterate, right? If it's not that great, just change the copy, change something else, see if it works. If it's not good enough, then it's not going to work. Okay, if people are not going to understand it and not going to understand the value that you tell them, it's not going to work. But if it is, okay, only then let's move on and see if there's the feasibility phase that's worthwhile getting into.
Yeah. After going through the process of the press release, I think it's bullshit. Because when you do it, I'm not a marketing person, product person, right? And marketing person doesn't write something great out there without support. So that's meaning
I would like to add something else on advertising. They don't do products at all, but in agencies we have a question that we ask ourselves. It's quite similar. It's what will tell my husband to get at the supermarket? If it's easy enough to say it, if it's intuitive, then it's a good name for the product.
Okay.
It's quite similar to a PR.
It is. I agree. But what you're saying is right, but I think it's part of the process. I think that if you can't get past that, then maybe you need to rethink your idea. Okay, but if you can't get past the market, if you can't explain
and do the storytelling.
Yeah. I agree that if you use techniques, you could get past almost everything, but I think it helps you to get to the first place internally within the organization to see if there's going to be buy-in.
You can write anything on paper.
No, but if it's good enough to convince people, okay? I understand that in one direction, it doesn't work both directions, so if that's what we're talking about.
So we did in my company, we rolled the press releases and then we ran them through some stakeholders like marketing, sales. So we got some more validation, invalidation, but again.
No, but if you don't, look at the other side. If you don't get validation from them, I think it's a good indicator that you're not doing something right. Okay, maybe you should change direction or change the way that you pitch it or change the product at all. Okay, so it works in some direction. Another way to simulate is the prototype. Okay, give the user the experience. Sometimes just getting a person in a room, showing them the experience that you want them to take to undergo, and see their reaction, see their questions, see what they ask. Again, it's not that great because a lot of people, want to please you, to give you the answer that you want. But it's a good process. Prototyping, again, it's much cheaper, much quicker than starting to develop a product and say, okay, let's build it and let's see in 3, 4, 10 months if anybody really wants this. Market validation by ad campaigns, and Could also be by landing pages. We see that being used a lot. People start off just run campaigns. Say, okay, we have this product that doesn't even exist, but they want to see if people are clicking this ad, if there's a demand in the market for it. If it is, they're saying, okay, we know that there's a demand. Now let's build it and see, if we can actually sell this value to them. But if not, maybe we should do that ahead of time before we do that altogether. And landing pages, again, the same thing, kind of like Kickstarter and all these things. The thing okay, we are going to build this. This is going to be, we want to see if there's some sort of pre-commitment or some sort of pre-sale for a product that doesn't really exist. Again, it gives you some sort of market validation. Different type of users, very early adopters and innovators, but still it gives you some sort of indication. And just about wrapping things up, okay? So, how do we utilize our product strategy? Just to go over the things that we talked about today. In many ways, but for our example, okay, we want to identify the barriers after. The first step here should be talking about the problem, identifying the problem, getting to the core of the problem. Okay, identify the barriers and the key challenges. Okay, solve them by leveraging. Okay, and the word leveraging is really important. Leveraging our strength, finding something that's cunning, finding something that's different. Okay, because it's just going to go and address every problem head on. As a startup, usually, or even as a bigger organization, it's usually not going to be enough. Okay, we need to find some sort of edge. We need to find a shortcut. We need to find some trickery. We need to find some way to get better and to utilize our strength in a leveraged way. We need to understand what are the assumptions that we're making and test them. Okay, test them, and the emphasis here is on testing the riskiest ones first. Because a lot of times what we see is that people have assumptions, product managers have assumptions, and they're afraid that the riskiest one, the one that could actually prove that everything's going to fail, is actually going to fail. And so they do everything around it. They develop this stuff, develop that stuff, and do Facebook integration and all that, but they don't launch the product. They don't do the things that are actually the riskiest, ones that can actually get you slapped in the face or can actually make you fail. Okay, we need to understand that that's what we're here to do. Okay, so we're not here to fail, but we're here to meet the market as quickly as possible. And if we do fail, and if the market doesn't accept us, and there is no product market fit, at least in some cases we'll have a chance to pivot or to change something, and again, not to go spoiled. And that's what I said just now, fail or pivot at the lowest cost, okay? As quickly as possible to understand if we're failing or if we're not in the right direction. So, any survivors from our dissection, right? We said we'd take apart, we'd kind of do like a surgery for a product that doesn't really exist, or it was supposed to exist but never happened. And so I hope that you guys survived. Most of you did. And I hope that you gained a little bit of the thought process that we did. Actually meant for this to be a little bit more interactive and to get you guys to work a little bit more. It's my bad on that aspect that I didn't plan the time well enough, but we learn from it for the next time. Any questions or any remarks that you want to add? Now is a good time.
Just last question. What do you do if the stakeholders don't see eye to eye? You as a product manager, they're wrong, you need to prove them right, but they are the stakeholders and they are navigating the system. So, what can you do? You can do all the assumptions and the examples and the testing you want, but eventually they decide what they want to do. And so, how do you cope with that? What do you do?
I think that, again, from my experience, I think the great question that we have is a lot. But if you show them a process, a lot of times we kind of skip the process, okay? Because we know, in our head, we know what we need to do. Okay, we need to do this, we need to do this. A lot of times the stakeholders, the CEO, they don't understand what you're doing. It's not that they're not smart enough, but they don't see the process. Well, my recommendation is if you outline the process and tell them beforehand, okay, now we're going to address the problem and ask them like guiding questions. Do you agree that this is the core problem? Yes. Do you agree that these are the barriers that we need to challenge and to solve. And if you get them to say a lot of yeses to the process and get them on board to buy into the process, it's going to be much easier than to say, okay, this is my solution. And then they might say, okay, no, but that's your solution. You know, I'm going to talk to you and show you, okay, that's what we want to build. That's a product that has this stuff and this like marketplace and all the credits and all that stuff. You just say, okay, that's a nice idea, but why don't we do it in something else? And it could sound like another cool idea as well. But if you tell them, if you explain to them and show them the process, that these are the core process, these are the core issues that we have. Do we agree with that? Do we agree that we need to solve this first? It'll be much easier for you to convince them. Okay, and you can have some meat or beef to back yourself. And someone says, okay, but for me, the most important thing is that the app is going to be beautiful. If the CEO says that to you, you might know that's bullshit is not that important, but it's your word against them. There, right? If you get to the core of it, okay, why does it need to be beautiful? Does it serve? What does it serve? You understand what I'm saying? Like, get them to walk through the process, the strategic process.
If you got data, show me. If it's only our opinions, then let's take mine.
Exactly. Then I get paid more than you, then mine, right? That's what you
So what happened to the parking lot?
The parking lot never materialized. There was another app that worked on something similar to credits in San Francisco. They called it Karma or something similar, something with Karma. And they actually had some issues with regulations. The city in San Francisco said that they were selling public property, whatever. And I don't think that's what closed them down. I think it was actually served them well because it could give them some nice PR and all that. But eventually it didn't work. What?
Write it in the press release. We will be sued.
It worked for you, Uber. There's a lot of companies that actually work for them and get them to work. Any other questions?